Okay. Hopefully that little extra timer there means that Twitch actually started it and I wanted it to. New things I am learning. Twitch takes much longer to start than YouTube does. So hopefully I will start getting that timing right. Hello and welcome and good evening, or whatever time it is, whatever greeting is appropriate to you. I am Chloe, and this is Word Stitch Right Night Right. I make them sound clever, and then I forget how to say them. So hey, Melanie, and hey, Courtney. Courtney has had a very productive day. I have as well. I did some editing during the day, and I did some. What else did I do today? I was productive today. I'm just forgetting everything that I did today. I did some quilting, and I did. I finished up. I canned some stuff last night. With pressure canners, you can't open them when they're done. There's like the way pressure canners work is you have to build them to a pressure. So when the cans are done processing, you can't just immediately release the pressure. Everything will literally explode. I have seen some crazy disasters from pressure canners. So I finished that up, and that was a lot of stuff. That was 18 cans that I canned up yesterday. So I dealt with that. Geez, like I feel like I did so much, and now I'm not even remembering what all I did, but that's okay. I've been busy. Got some reading done, which I haven't done reading in a while. So that was also a good thing. I realize it doesn't sound productive to some people, but you know what? If you're sitting here listening to me, then you are a writer as well, and you know that reading can be part of your productivity. Let's see. So let's see. Melanie has a story. She started back at work today, has been off for so long that she couldn't get access to her employer's server to work from home. Was supposed to shadow with one of her teammates and get used. I'll get used to things. There we go. There's more to it. But IT had to order a new laptop. And it was supposed to arrive, but it hasn't arrived yet. So I may not be online till late tomorrow or Friday. So you are working, but not actually back to work yet. That's fair. I support that. Some days just go like that. I certainly can remember with my cake decorating days, having days when I went in with like a whole damn list and then everything falling apart. And Melanie was still getting paid for the day. So that is awesome. Yeah. The big thing for us, which I guess it's the same for everybody, it's just a little bit different when you're in the food industry, power outages are a really unique thing in grocery stores. And of course, depending on the department you're in, what you do during a power outage changes. As in the bakery, we had like these steps of protocol that we had to follow for like times that we had to do things, but most of our stuff is fine for hours without being tended to. You know, our cases hold temperature pretty well, and like food standards, everything is cold enough that it can warm up some and it's fine. So whenever power outages happened, we couldn't go home. There was like a time frame. I think it was like 2 hours or whatever before like they started sending people home. But during that time, you couldn't do anything. For me, I'm a cake decorator, and there are security lights. There are lights. Shoppers can literally still shop during a power outage, but it's limited light, and they lose access to certain places as it progresses, obviously with the freezer first. But like somehow they still have the registers running and everything. I guess they must be on a generator. But for a department like mine, we didn't have enough, certainly there wasn't enough lighting for me to decorate a cake. So we would just stand around and have a good time. And like if somebody had cards or whatever, we play cards. Always fun. Um, oh, Melanie just said, oh God, I've already run over the time. Melanie just said that her mom would have to handwrite receipts. How does that even work with taxes? We wouldn't be able to do that in Georgia in Publix. There's no way we'd be able to figure that out. But no. Courtney is having computer problems. Hopefully that gets cleared up soon. Turn off and back on again. Always the wisdom there. And yeah, Melanie, I always felt so bad for the other departments. We'd be, excuse me, in most stores, sorry, I'm drinking soda, so I'm just burping now. But we, in most of the stores I worked at, we were sandwiched between the deli and the meat department. And oh my God, the nightmare that those poor people had to go through. And meanwhile, we're like, we're fine. Bread's just going to continue to rise. And then, I'm so sorry that my computer made me scream at you. Also, she did use a calculator. So I guess she just knew what like different taxes were on different things, or maybe depending on what state. In Georgia, like depending on the type of item it is, it has a different tax. And like it's not as clean cut. I've lived in some states where it was like 0 on food and X% on stuff that was not food. Georgia is way more complicated than that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our first sprint. I didn't even talk about what I'm working on today. I'll talk about that afterward. But let's go ahead and do our first sprint. We'll start off with a 10-minute. Yes, that's right. That says 10 seconds from the last, or 15 seconds from the last one to start it. But yeah, we'll go for 10 minutes and then we'll figure out what everybody's working on. Okay, we are back. Sorry about that delay there. I had to get that sentence written out. I am in the middle of editing, but I'm merging new content to old content. And that's always like you lose your place and you'll never find it again. You have to say this one thing to make things right. Anyway, so let me know what y'all are working on. I am working on these edits for the last book in my Shifter series, Truth or Wares. I did, as I said, I rewrote those first 3 chapters. First 3 scenes. They unfortunately did not make the book any shorter, which is a problem I'm having. I realize that this is a problem that I am constantly having, but this time it's because the rest of the books in the series are under 40,000, and this one is 70,000. I knew this one was going to be long, and I really didn't. Oh God, I lost my train of thought. This one is going to be long. I'm doing it in 2 parts. I mean, they're getting published together, but I'm going to be writing it as part 1 and part 2, in hopes that people will feel better about the length of it. I don't know. It's really weird logic. I don't know. So Melanie right now is beta reading. So that is awesome. Doing the good work there. Yes, catch up on that. It's work too. And yeah, Melanie just said I cannot stop in the middle of a sentence ever, and understands the pain of stitching scenes from old to new. I definitely was starting in a better spot, or not starting. I'm literally rewriting the scenes. They're not any different. They're kind of, they're starting at different parts, but it's the exact same progression in it. Just the progression that it was before wasn't working right, and it wasn't giving the right information that I needed to it. So yeah, hopefully as long as I stick on this closely enough, I'll be able to catch everything that I need to do with it, and it'll all stitch together by the next edit. It's going to be an extra round of edits. I know that, but that's okay. I don't mind. I need the series to be done. I need it to be in a box set so I can hopefully make money off of it, but that's okay. So yeah, everybody's being quiet tonight. Oh, there's Courtney chiming in. We're just having a quiet night tonight. Courtney got 433. That's fantastic. Working on new adult dystopian fantasy, trying to meet the deadline and get this draft done by the end of the month. Courtney, how much longer do you have to go on it? Getting it done by the end of the month could be like a super easy, almost there, almost done, or it could be like, oh my God, what have I set myself up for? So I'm curious what side of the line you're on for that. And Melanie says, when I rewrote my Discovery, drafted and stitched some scenes from that into my most recent draft. I read that all wrong, but anyways, the story floats so much better. Yeah, sometimes you just need to rewrite scenes. It's not even necessarily starting at a different spot, although also starting at a different spot is super helpful for a lot of the things that I have written. A lot of times I just need to get rid of the first 2 scenes and move on, which is actually what I did with this one initially. I got rid of a few scenes in the beginning. I got rid of a big chunk in the beginning. And so where I started it the second time was the right starting place. It needed to be rewritten as well. So let's go ahead and do our next sprint, and then we'll go from there. Okay, you did write it all wrong. I knew what I was saying. As I said, I was having issues finding the cadence in it, and I understood what you said, and I was like, I'm missing something in here, but that's not okay. Good. It wasn't me. I wasn't misreading a word or something. There was a word that was a typo in it, but I did catch that. Anyways, let's go ahead and do our next sprint. We're going to go for 20 this time. Hopefully get a good good bit of writing or beta reading or editing done. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Okay, I got some editing done there. Yay. This scene is taking, this scene is taking forever to edit, but of course, like, writing a scene is one thing, editing a scene is another thing, and then stitching an old scene to new scenes is just like a whole other beast when, yeah, it's fine. And I deleted some words, obviously not like the thousands of words that I need to delete, but I deleted 131 words. Woo! So I'm going to count that as progress and keep going with it. Hopefully I can delete a whole bunch of words. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to just get this down to like 60,000. I'll feel much better if I can get it down to 60,000. Because I think the one before this was like 45. So the first one is literally 25,000 words. It's insane. Whatever. Let's see. Melanie said right before we went on that, with the rewrite, she matured her characters by a year, and some of the themes were much darker. But I like it, with the YA stuff and the NA stuff, things are a lot darker now than they used to be. It's funny because, like, I grew up. Grew up, teenager. I was a baby then, reading like Christopher Pike, and I was never big into R.L. Stine, the Goosebumps stuff, but like Christopher Pike and J.L. Smith, I believe that was the name of the author of Vampire Diaries and Secret Circle, all of that kind of stuff. And then also I read Anne Rice. So it was, I don't know, I had these like two completely separate worlds and like, horror and romance in all of them. But despite how horror the Christopher Pike stuff was, it's nothing in comparison to what they have now, even in stuff that's not horror. Like YA is just, it's a lot more mature than it used to be. For better or for worse, it is what it is. Certainly people keep reading the genre, so nobody is complaining about it. But yeah, Season of Passage. That was, I'm sorry. I read Season of Passage without reading the rest of this sentence. Yes, Season of Passage was one of his adult stories. There was that, and there was one other one. I read them, but I read them when they came out when I would have been a teenager. But yeah, I loved his stuff. So I kind of want to reread it now. I reread Vampire Diaries, and I was like, this is bad now. So I don't know. I think about it, but I haven't. I haven't done it because I'm scared that I'm going to hate it and I'm going to be real sad. According got 824 words. Oh, okay. So you're at 45 of 65. So you're in good shape because you write fast. I know you always do in my sprints. I don't know how much time you have every day to write because I don't know your personal life, but I do know that when you are writing, you are pumping out the words. So, if it is long, yeah, I get it. I can churn out. I can do, if I'm like really pushing myself, I can do 50K in a week, but it is hard, and I don't like doing it. Not in a week. I'm sorry. That was the wrong number. I was doing like metric days. I can do 50K in 10 days. I can do like 5K a day, but it's rough. Or sometimes I guess it depends on the story, like you have those. I don't know if anybody listens to it, but Jess Michaels is she is a historical romance writer, and she does a podcast where she interviews other romance writers. A lot of it is historical, but she does like paranormal and sweet and contemporary, whatever you write. For romance, she interviews those writers. But she always calls them golden books when they just like come out like nothing. Like, yes, I know that feeling well. I'm not doing any golden books at the moment. I am wedged in between three very much not very tarnished books. So With that in mind, let's go ahead and get our next sprint going. We're going to go for 20 again. It is about 10 of, so I will see you guys at about 10 after. Okay. That sprint is done. I've actually done 2 scenes. Had I finished that? No, I finished up the scene that was the stitching scene, so to speak, and did another scene. So progress. Hopefully things will get better soon. I did also remove 158 words that time. This is how I count progress now when I'm editing. How many words did I remove? Ooh. There were words that I didn't need and I did not want. I'm also in like a real weird scene in this book. So a weird random story from my life. There tend to be proof copies of my books sitting around all over the house. We're not good cleaners. All of our bookshelves are full already. Little stacks of books exist, and my books are in those little stacks of books. And one time when I was not home, somebody got hold of my weird sci-fi erotic romance. And by sheer dumb luck, pulled up a scene that was an impossible sex scene. It was deliberately written as an impossible scene, but they read this and everybody had a good laugh over it. I'm not offended that they like laughed at it. It's okay. I know that like if you had no context for what was going on in this scene, it'd be the most ridiculous thing ever. So like I'm totally fine with that. But I worry that all of these people think that I don't know how sex works now. Because I'm also gay. And as much as I absolutely understand the mechanics of sex, I feel like it's real easy to look at somebody who has not either had that experience or particularly cared for that experience, that they might not understand the mechanics of it. And I understand the mechanics just fine. Don't worry. I did that deliberately. I know that position doesn't work. If you'd read a little bit further on, it would have been made clear that anyway. I bring this all up because this book that I'm working on now also has a bad sex scene at the beginning of it. And like I make it very clear why this is a bad sex scene. Everything around it, what is going on, it makes sense that I wrote it this way, and it was deliberately a bad scene, or not a bad scene, but it was deliberately bad sex. But I have this fear that like people are going to just accidentally pick this book up on its own, like as their first time ever reading anything that I wrote, and they'll read this scene and be like, oh, is this what is in store for me? I think not. So just like rereading it, every time I've had to reread this, I have that moment of like, oh no, please don't judge me by this sex scene, and please don't judge me by that like 7th sex scene. And oh my God, I cannot stress enough that like of that sci-fi, that weirdo one, of the first like 20,000 words, probably 10,000 words of it is sex. There's so much sex throughout the book. It is erotic romance. There are so many sex scenes in it. And just by fate of the gods, that was the scene that was read. Also, if you are curious, I absolutely cannot be in the room while somebody reads a sex scene that I wrote. It has happened before, and it's horrible. And again, somehow it always, like, it's not necessarily that scene that doesn't work, but it will be like the raunchiest damn line I have ever written. I'm like, oh my God, don't read that out loud. I can't believe I said that. I know I said it. I know people love that line, but I don't want you to repeat in front of me that horrible line I said. Courtney got 786. That is fantastic. Marching toward that goal. So it looks like, yes, we are at time for the next sprint. Oh my God, it's so uncomfortable listening. Some people are great. Sandy literally does her own audio recordings for her books. And with her adult stuff, there are absolutely sex scenes that she reads for everybody to hear her reading it. And I'm like, oh my God, I would die. I cannot, even in like the privacy of my own room, I can never I sound crazy, but like I can never just speak those words. Oh my God. Okay, let's go ahead and do another 20 minutes. No, Melanie, I do almost think it's worse because it's the difference between the actual act happening and just like the fantasy, like this isn't even it actually happening. This is just what's in your head. And I'm like, oh my God, this is how fucked up my head is. That makes it so it's almost, I guess, the better comparison is it's almost like someone walking in. Oh, wait, are you talking about like walking in while you're reading it? I okay. Also, I'm so sorry. I know I said I was gonna sprint, but oh my God, are they really okay? So apparently, Black Dagger Brotherhood is narrated by a middle-aged dude with a British accent. I love that. I guess it makes sense because they do talk about their accents. Sometimes, like their accents absolutely come up, and there's always that like, we don't know what the accent is, but it's something European. But also, I've always wondered about how Butch is read because Butch has, as I've said before, the most. Okay, so finish that sentence. Butch has that Southie accent that I personally hate, and I apologize to anybody who has it and is offended by that. But like, I can't. That accent, it's just like, oh, earworm. But so for the Melanie meant walking in during the actual act, I feel like a better comparison would be walking in on you masturbating. That is where my two things would be. Which is worse, masturbating or reading the sex scenes out loud? Okay, so anyways, off on that weirdo tangent. Thankfully, it's a quiet night, so we can just have like whatever. We're having this conversation now because it's just us girls here. Somebody's probably lurking and is not like reading on the charts because that is absolutely my luck. But whatever. Like, how often do we talk about sex scenes? I rate erotic romance. Okay, let's go ahead and do this next sprint. We're gonna go for 20 minutes and it'll take us to 38 past. Okay. That was time on that. It looks like we'll have time to do one more sprint tonight. Let me know how you did. Looks like Melanie left us. I don't know who else left. Quiet night. That's okay. I edited a couple more scenes. These scenes are really short. So I edited 2.5 scenes, but not that much. Not that many actual words. I deleted 63 words though. I am still over 70,000. I guess. I guess I'm just like hoping to get under 70,000 at this point. I opened. God, which book was it? I opened one of my books today. Oh, you know what? I think it's still open. It was. I opened Clara today, and the funny thing with Clara is that the print version of her, the paperback version, according to Microsoft Word, so like it's got all of the, front matter and back matter on it. It randomly ended up being 59,999 words. And I remember when I wrote it, I wanted to keep it under 60,000 words. So every time I open that file, which I do have to frequently because I need it as a template for the other books in the series, but every time I open it, I have a good laugh over that razor's edge. It is below 60,000 words. I believe it's actually once the front and back matter is removed. No, I guess it's got, no. And like chapter headings and all of that. No, I was going to say, I feel like it's closer to 58,000, but no, there's no way I've got 2,000 words in back and front matter. I don't load that. Hey, Greg, I am doing great. We're having a quiet night. So we're going to do just one more sprint today. That is real late though. 3:00 in the morning. Like, I haven't seen 3:00 in the morning. Well, no, you know what? I was going to say, I haven't seen 3:00 in the morning in a long time, but New Year's, oh my God, it was so dumb. I was reading a book that night and like staying up to see the new year, of course. Watching Anderson Cooper get real drunk. It was hilarious. So we stayed up to watch the ball drop. And then my stupid ass, I ended up staying up reading all night. So I did actually see 3:00 in the morning this month. Not normal for me though at all. It is 9:41 here in Atlanta. So this will be the end for me because I really don't. I've been having bad sleeping habits lately. I used to work at 6:00 in the morning every day, and now that I don't, part of why I do my 8 a.m. sprints is to get myself in bed at a reasonable time and get up early. It's harder and harder to do every day. I was up all night reading last night, and I'll be doing the same tonight because I'm reading a series. And last night I read the first book of the series, and tonight I'm reading the second book. And I don't, unless the book is an absolute monster where it's impossible to read it in one day, I have to read books in one day. I'm assuming that it's OCD. I do have OCD, but I have much more obvious symptoms of OCD. But I'm assuming that is why I have that issue with books. I can't fall asleep if I haven't finished them. I guess it could be anything. It sounds like that could be a viable reason why. A lot of the things when I was younger, there were a lot of things that I didn't understand about myself that I never connected together until I was diagnosed with OCD. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, it's not even the moderate OCD that my therapist said that I had. He told me because I was going to see a psychiatrist for for medication. He's like, hey, make sure you tell him about your OCD because you hide it really well. I have no idea. I had no idea that I was hiding it because I had no idea I had it. And then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, actually, I need to tell my therapist and my psychiatrist all these things because I had no idea that they even signify that there is anything wrong with me. Because, OCD has that. Everybody thinks people who don't have OCD and don't have loved ones with OCD tend to not realize that it's not being neurotic. It's not being a clean freak. It's not checking lights or the ovens. Although I check that damn oven. Oh my God, it's so bad. And my roommate sometimes leaves the oven on, which just like is literal fuel to the fire. So yeah, I've got all these other things that aren't, the mainstream depiction of OCD. So I had no idea that I should even mention these things until I told the therapist. I'm sure it was about my sleeping issues because I've always had sleeping issues. But anyways, I have a feeling that if I told my therapist that I can't go to sleep if I'm in the middle of a book, he would also tell me that was OCD. I see Greg could not read a book in a day. And Courtney sometimes takes you 2 to 3 days to get through a book, but that makes sense. For me, the beauty of Kindle, especially, it's unfortunately they don't have it on Overdrive, but they have it on Kindle, is it will tell you how long it'll probably take you to read that book. So, like these books that I'm reading now, I knew that they were 4-hour reads. And I was dumb and I started them late, but like I can try to get myself, or like I know if I'm reading something really big, I know to like wait until I have a day off to just drown myself in it. Anyways, let's go ahead and do our last sprint. We're gonna do a final 20, and looks like everybody is on the same end of being sleepy but needing to get a little bit more work done. I would love to get this thing edited in the next couple of days, which now that I'm through the bad part, hopefully I can do it and therefore move on to, I don't know. My board says the first edit of Killian, but that's too soon. I got to do something else. Anyways, okay. So we're going to go for 20 minutes. I will see you guys in, oh yeah, I'm the same way. I can read on my Kindle faster than I can a paper book. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Okay, that was the final sprint for tonight. I did chop out a whole bunch of words. I chopped out 257 words. Yay. I don't know. This thing's way too wordy. It's too long. The story didn't need to be as long as it was. So making progress. That is everything for tonight though. So next week, this show will probably not be happening. It's a friend's birthday and we're doing dinner. At a hibachi. I feel like this is probably one of the less safe things that I've done in the quarantine, but that's okay. We all have to have our little bits of indulgences. But I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern and on Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern for Rise and Right. And I'll be doing some more game and rights in the afternoons whenever I feel like doing them. So that's what's on the schedule for the next couple of days. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Have a great night and good productivity.